basically we could turn cancer on and off, as you know. And also the main point is that once it becomes a cancer cell, it doesn't reverse. It keeps on progressing. So cancer becomes essentially a progressive disease, a genetic progressive disease. What we showed in the rat studies was not that. That was not true.
We were able to reverse cancer. That right there, by nutritional means, that right there alone says, hey, this is not a mutation. This is not a mutation type of disease. We can reverse it.
And I'm saying that cancer is a nutritional disease. That's heresy. That is heresy of the first order, to me even suggested such a thing. But that's what we were getting. I couldn't turn away from the results we were getting. Protein is turning it off, you take it away, it turns cancer off, okay?
Fit as a 19-year-old, sharp as a young chess prodigy, and with longevity like someone aging in reverse, the 90-year-old American biochemist, Dr. Thomas Colin Campbell, looks like a man to whom age is just a number. Even at this age, he doesn't take any medication, and to your surprise, he has never even fallen sick for the last 47 years.
If you keep on eating a bad thing, you're going to take drugs to patch up your problems a little bit. Yeah, in the short run you might see something, but in the long run, no. I don't take any drugs. I'm 83, I don't take a drug.
But what's most striking about him is that he claims cancer is a nutrition-based disease, not a genetic one, which can be reversed, and everything else we know about cancer is all wrong. Is that true? We are going to investigate in this video why Dr. Campbell made such a huge claim, what his top secrets are for reversing cancer, and most importantly, how you can do that. Why he claimed the nutrition link.
So there's the title I have. Nutrition is the most effective medicine we know, so why is it not taught in medical schools? And so the next morning I was in the hospital and they were working around to see how many pins they should put in my hip. And the doctor came out of the room and he didn't know who I was or what I was doing. And he just came out of the room and saw my wife there and he went like that. He says, I have never seen anyone in my career your age with such strong bones. Keep in mind, he's a surgeon working on bones. He says, why? He says, because he doesn't use dairy. And it was a bit shocked with that. You know that, I mean, we're supposed to have strong bones because we use dairy. Of course, I got off dairy about 20, 30 years ago at least.
What's wrong with dairy products here? We will come to that point later, but it's just another way of saying, you are what you eat. Whatever the health issue is, Dr. Campbell always holds only one essential factor responsible for that, which is also the most overlooked in modern times, nutrition. To demonstrate that, Dr. Campbell talked about a very unique study whose outcome might shock you because some people get the wrong impression that perhaps smoking isn't as harmful as it's said. But look closely. The study was from 1981 about factors affecting lung cancer risk in smokers. Dr. Campbell used a 3D chart to explain the findings. On one side, the chart showed how much beta-carotene smokers consumed. More beta-carotene consumption means lower lung cancer risk. On the other side, it showed the amount of smoking, from light smokers to heavy smokers of over 30 years. The study found that heavy smokers who consumed more beta-carotene had lower cancer risks compared to those who consumed less. This was a mind-blowing idea at the time, that a nutrient like beta-carotene could affect lung cancer risk this way. Of course, this definitely doesn't mean smoking is safe if you consume enough beta-carotene, but it shows how powerful nutrition is for your wellness, that it can even balance out something as dangerous as smoking. Now, traditional cancer research says that 67% of cancers happen at random, depending on genes, leaving only 33% under our control.
It's generally regarded as a disease caused by genes, right? Mutations specifically, that is mutating genes, and so that's where it starts, and you get things like some genes we've learned about it being associated with cancer, if you will. These genes are basically mutated by some chemical, that's the idea.
Okay.
And so cancer starts off with a genetic mutation where the new cancer cell, now mutated, it doesn't back mutate. And so cancer is considered to be a genetic disease.
According to this view, as stem cells divide more frequently, the likelihood of cancer increases due to higher rates of mutations. Meanwhile, the role of diet in influencing cancer risk remains uncertain, suggesting that the development of cancer is largely a matter of sheer luck. But when Dr. Campbell came to research, his findings changed the whole story.
Okay.
And also the main point is that once it becomes a cancer cell, it doesn't reverse. It keeps on progressing. So cancer becomes essentially a progressive disease, a genetic progressive disease. What we showed in the rat studies was not that. That was not true.
He studied cancer in a few stages. First, there's initiation, where cells mutate rapidly, potentially leading to cancer. These mutated cells then move to the promotion stage, where they grow over years and form tumors. Dr. Campbell's main focus here was to understand how proteins function in this scenario, as protein is the main component involved in cell division. If we take a look at the first stage, initiation, every mechanism he studied showed that high protein levels increase and promote cancer growth. In the second stage, promotion, Dr. Campbell initially thought cancer only moved forward, as traditional researchers say. But when he did further research, the result was strikingly different.
Why don't we look at some other cancer systems too, like pancreatic cancer and some other nutrients like carotenoids and fat and breast cancer, mammary cancer, and things like that. We can reverse cancer. We can reverse other diseases. And now we know we can cure heart disease in humans. Food can do this.
He noticed that a diet high in protein can affect several mechanisms. It lets cancer-causing substances into cells, activates enzymes that start these substances, and binds DNA more, leading to rapid mutations. In simple terms, a high-protein diet pulls the trigger for mechanisms that cause cancer. Even a slightly high-protein diet can turn on 8 mechanisms that cause cancer, while weakening 2 protective ones that nature gives us as a part of immunity.
Animal study, and the way we were doing that, they had all been mutated, essentially. We put one group on 20% protein, animal protein in that case.
And what type of animal protein?
Casein. It was the main protein of cow's milk. And so we fed it at a higher level. It's a very relevant level. Our own study in the laboratory, not in China. That was done, experimentally.
But you did do that.
This is the turning point when he understood cancer can actually be reversed by simply removing extra protein from our daily diet. As he bluntly puts it, the mechanism of reversal.
So when we gave animal protein, cancer started to grow. We take it away, it cuts it off. You give it back again, it cuts it on.
But how will you remove protein from your diet? Is it even possible? Dr. Colin Campbell says yes.
And so in the moment you pull that out, eat more plants, make it 100% if possible. Don't add a lot of salt and sugar and fat to that, of course. If you do it that way, we can see results in 10 days.
Wow.
15 days, 20 days.
Over 10 years in rural China, Dr. Campbell and his team studied how food impacts cancer risks, and the outcome was life-altering. It challenged all the previous Western-focused ideas about diets and foods. They found more than 8,000 connections between lifestyle, diet, and diseases in China, revealing that what people eat and their surroundings matter more than genetics for people's health.
But what we saw was those who consumed a small amount of animal food, they maintained the presence of the active virus. They did not form the antibodies. People consuming some animal food, they were the ones that got the virus and died. Those who consumed the more plant food, got the antibodies, did not die.
Not only that, their new approach stressed how diet can prevent diseases as well. It showed that many health problems in some places can be lessened only by making better food choices. Dr. Campbell thinks China has lower cancer rates than the US because Chinese people eat lots of plant foods. Unlike the US, where most protein comes from animals, China gets only 10% of its energy from protein, and just 10% of that is animal-based.
We haven't taken really into consideration other societies where their dietary practices are rather different. And of course, they get different diseases. So China was a perfect place to look at this, in a sense, look at this contrast.
Diets with less than 5% protein can make enzymes less active, so cancer-causing chemicals can't attach to DNA. Even eating 20% protein raises cancer risks more with animal protein than plant protein. Nutrients from animals often help tumors grow, On the other hand, those from plants often reduce it. Their study also looked at casein, an important protein component in cow milk that makes up 87% of it. It can turn on cancer genes at high levels, but turn them off at low or no levels. Campbell says casein is a big reason behind cancer, unlike others known. This is why drinking milk often raises the chances of prostate cancer.
Cow's milk protein, casein, is a chemical carcinogen that is more relevant than any other carcinogen identified so far.
Protein we were using was casein. Casein is the main protein of cow's milk. Soy protein, wheat protein didn't do that, even when it was fed at 20% of calories. So there's a dramatic difference between casein and these plant-based proteins. I found this to be provocative, and that's an understatement, because I was raised on a dairy farm.
With that, diets with lots of fat can mean more breast cancer, while eating less fiber can mean more colon and rectal cancers. Contrarily, it's plant-based diets that can prevent cancer and reduce heart disease, diabetes, and other health issues due to their antioxidants. Literally switching to a plant-based diet without lots of salt, sugar, or fat can make you healthier in just 10 to 20 days. Legumes, whole grains, leafy vegetables, and even low-protein foods like potatoes provide enough healthy protein every day. Using drugs for health problems doesn't fix the real issues and can cause other problems, while eating whole plant foods helps with many illnesses and can even reverse them.
Well, again, you kind of have to make some estimates go along here, but the data are really strong. We could eliminate, without a doubt in my mind, at least 80, if not 90% of all cancers.
For example, fiber, found only in plants, helps digestion and may lower colorectal cancer risks. Chinese people who eat plant-based diets get more iron than Americans eating animal-based diets, which challenges ideas about iron problems. Danger of animal protein.
I had certain ideas that everyone else had, that the good old American diet is as good as it gets. Well, we got into science, I started doing things, fantastic things, very exciting opportunities over the years. I learned that what I thought was true in the beginning is not true.
Animal-based nutrients went that way. Plant proteins-based went that way. And it was major. It was a major distinction. And so for cancer prevention, a diet that has less fat, less animal protein, more plant protein, more carotenoids, essentially is the kind of diet that prevents cancer and reverses cancer, if we can go that far to say that kind of thing. And so let's return to this scheme that I showed you in the beginning. And you can see there, I've elaborated a little bit, the promotion, it shows it's reversible. That's clear, it's reversible.
Not only in China, Dr. Campbell's research in the Philippines also came up with a new and intriguing angle. He and his research team noticed that the children from richer families who ate more animal protein had a higher chance of getting liver cancer. Lab tests confirmed this, showing that diets high in protein made cancer grow in animals, while low-protein diets slowed it down. The protein they studied was casein from cow's milk. This is mainly because milk is considered extremely nutritious and complete food in traditional science, while, as Dr. Campbell says, it's even more dangerous than smoking a cigarette when it comes to causing cancer.
And likely most other animal proteins is a far more relevant carcinogen than any pesticide, herbicide, food additive, or other noxious chemical ever tested.
If that's not all, large studies have also found a link between drinking cow's milk and ovarian cancer. In a US study involving over 80,000 women, those who drank one or more servings of skim or low-fat milk daily had a 32% higher risk of ovarian cancer and a 69% higher risk of serious ovarian cancer compared to those who drank less than 3 servings per month. Similarly, a Swedish study of over 60,000 women also confirmed these findings. It showed that women who consumed more than 4 servings of dairy daily had twice the risk of serious ovarian cancer as those who consumed fewer than 2 servings. Additionally, women who drank 2 or more glasses of cow's milk daily had double the risk of ovarian cancer compared to those who drank little to no milk. As a result, it's pretty understandable that changing the amount of casein can turn cancer growth on and off. But if you think cow milk protein is the only guilty party here, you are hugely mistaken. Other animal proteins, which we traditionally believe to be important for our health, turned out to be lethal for us. Basically, when protein was first discovered in the 1830s by a Dutch chemist named Gerardus Mulder, people thought it was only found in meat. However, in the 1900s, scientists found out it's also in plants. But by that time, the idea of high-quality protein spread like wildfire, and everyone had already started depending on animal farming for this. But the true story is, animal proteins like beef, chicken, and fish are only better at helping muscles grow compared to plant proteins such as beans and nuts. This is because animal proteins have more of a specific amino acid called leucine, which is really important for building muscle.
Animal protein is higher quality, is other than the perception that it must be good. In a scientific sense, it has to do with measuring how much of the amino acids consumed from the protein actually is retained in the body to do all these good things. And by that I mean grow the body faster, create more hormones and stuff like that. So it turns out animal proteins have the ratio of amino acids in the right proportion. A higher percentage of it is absorbed in our body. Therefore, animal proteins could generate faster rate of growth better than plant proteins. And they call that, if you can see my thing, they call that high quality. Because to grow cells faster, yeah, okay, it might worthwhile during growth, although not the best. It grows cancer cells faster too.
Studies, like one published in the British Journal of Nutrition, have found that people who eat more animal proteins generally have more muscle mass than those who mainly eat plant-based proteins.
That's a good question. The thing that I was, I guess, primarily interested in at the time was, is this issue concerning animal protein? You know, what we saw in the lab and what we were publishing at the time was this amazing effect that animal protein is, quite frankly, it's just about poison. That was pretty remarkable because it's so consistent. And when we got the data on cholesterol, there was a general recommendation in this country, you shouldn't go below about 150 at the lowest, because you could maybe suffer some problems. So, like suicide.
But it also comes with huge side effects. As Dr. Campbell says, choosing animal protein also raises growth hormones, speeds up aging, makes cancer more likely, raises bad cholesterol, and increases blood sugar, leading to diabetes.
The really important thing, in my view, is animal protein. And that's a story that's been ignored for more than 100 years. Way back when they were first studying the question concerning factors of diet that cause atherosclerosis, for example, they were at that time discussing, was it the fatty or lipid part of the diet, or maybe it was a protein? They made a conclusion in the 1920s, serious researchers did. It was more about animal protein than it was about cholesterol or fat.
And the worst part is, it could also lower natural killer cell action and how well DNA fixes itself, while both are important for stopping diseases like cancer, heart trouble, and diabetes.
Animal protein consumption raises cholesterol and causes these diseases, and that's the takeaway from the China study and all your research.
Which protein to intake? And another key takeaway from the study is that proteins like gluten and soy never encourage any of those diseases, nor do they influence any type of cancer growth. These types of protein come only from plants. If you want to lower your risk of cancer, eating a plant-based diet is the only way, according to Dr. Campbell. This simple table summarizes all the importance of a plant-based diet for you. The table compares plant-based and animal-based proteins in terms of their impact on health and the environment. Plant-based proteins generally have less saturated fat and more fiber, vitamins, and minerals, which is good for health. They also don't have cholesterol like animal-based proteins, which can raise cholesterol levels. Both types of proteins are easy to digest, but plant-based ones tend to balance acidity much better than animal-based ones, which are more acidic.
You know, that's one thing. Methionine, cysteine, if you want some names. When we consume these sulfur amino acids, given that they have sulfur in them, then when that sulfur is excreted, if you will, converted, it's converted into an acidic ion. And that creates more acid in the body. That's one little observation that distinguishes between animal and plant proteins. Plant proteins they're deficient in those amino acids.
Apart from that, plant-based proteins often have more anti-inflammatory properties due to their nutrients, potentially reducing inflammation-related diseases. They can also help heart health by lowering LDL cholesterol levels, while animal-based proteins, with their higher saturated fat, might have the opposite effect. For example, Cholesterol is a common issue for many people in recent times. At first, people thought eating cholesterol-rich foods caused high cholesterol, and it birthed the idea of having a low-fat diet. However, studies from the 1940s to the 1980s showed that reducing fat doesn't significantly impact cholesterol or heart disease. According to Dr. Campbell, animal protein correlates almost perfectly with saturated fat, as saturated fats are primarily found in animal products. This correlation has caused misconceptions over the decades. So, the real change occurs when you replace animal foods with plant foods. When you consume a diet high in animal protein, it raises cholesterol levels, eventually causing heart diseases. That's the simple equation. It's okay to eat fats if they come from whole plant-based foods. You just need to avoid processed plant oils high in omega-6 fats and choose whole foods like olives, walnuts, and avocados for a better mix of omega-3 and omega-6 fats. While nuts are good in moderation for their balanced fats, they shouldn't be the main part of your diet. Even for those who want to undergo some weight loss, a plant-based diet provides lasting weight loss and many health benefits, such as preventing diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. But people mostly tend to choose some modern dietary charts for weight loss, like low-carb diets and keto diets, which Dr. Campbell boldly calls scams.
It's one of the greatest scams in the history of nutritional science. Here's why I say that.
But why did he say that?
So he started talking about this low-carb diet. And he coined the word carb. That's a shorthand for carbohydrate, of course. The ketogenic diet, high in animal protein and fat, the correlation is beautiful. The higher the rates of heart disease and cancer. It's exactly the opposite.
On the contrary, as Dr. Colin Campbell advocates, switching from a diet high in animal protein to a whole food plant-based diet can significantly lower cholesterol and reduce chronic pain. Plus, plant-based proteins are also more versatile for different diets and are less likely to cause allergies or intolerances compared to animal-based ones, boosting your immune system with important nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that keep your cells healthy, help your body fight off infections, and prevent cancer-causing changes. And that's why Dr. Campbell explicitly claims,
The problem is the data show that we do not need animal protein, period. And the closer we get to zero, the healthier we become. It's that simple.
Dr. Campbell's secrets to wellness. Now you might wonder, what will be the best choices to eat amongst the plant-based food? Well, Dr. Campbell suggests eating lots of vegetables like spinach, kale, legumes, and broccoli because they're packed with nutrients and fiber. These help keep your heart healthy, lower blood pressure, support your memory, provide necessary minerals like fiber, protein, iron, and zinc, and help you manage body weight. Whole grains like oats and whole grain rice are good for your gut and can also help with diabetes problems. Blueberries are good for your brain, while avocados are great for your heart and make you feel full. Nuts have healthy fats and vitamins that help with weight control and preventing diseases, but don't eat too many. Also, you need to keep your sugar consumption in check because it damages your DNA, leading to premature aging. The main idea about food, as per Dr. Campbell, should be the October 10th 80 diet, which means the diet should consist of at least 80% of calories from carbohydrates, with no more than 10% of calories from protein and 10% from fats. It's all about eating whole, plant-based foods and avoiding what he calls the 3 evils that can cause illness.
But the main thing is just have an alert mind, an active body, and be happy, and enjoy yourself. And I just think that's the formula.
So, what small changes can you make today for a healthier tomorrow? How will you apply Dr. Colin Campbell's insights in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing content. Take charge of your health journey now.